Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to Miss Soul Gym, the place to be to talk all things self-love and community. I'm so happy, honored and grateful today that we are inviting the amazing Tejasva Malhotra, aka TEX, the experience, to talk to us about fame, right? Fame, is it a trap or is it an opportunity? Fame and friendship, can we have both? Right? So I'd love to hear, for those of you who are tuning in or watching on the replay, what are your thoughts on fame? Type in the comments below. Say hello as well. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. What words come to your mind when you think about fame? Right? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Right? Before we dive into the discussion, let's invite Tejasva on to join us. What do you guys think? If you're tuning in now, please type in the comments below. Hello. We'd love to have a hi from you as well. Hi, Tejasva.
Hi, Sonal. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thank you for your patience this evening with Instagram and WhatsApp going down for a moment. But here we are because yeah, I think this is going to be a famous conversation. I can feel it. So the tech came back on our side.
Yeah, for sure. Before we begin, I just want to confirm you can see me and you can hear me okay.
Yes, absolutely fine. Thank you so much for checking. Right.
No worries.
So, yes, fame. What words come to your mind right now when we talk about fame before I introduce you?
I think it's a double-sided coin is the first thing that comes up to in my head, because depending on the way you see it, the way you use it, I guess, has a very different outcome.
Wow. Wise words, wise words. I like that. And actually, my thoughts are along similar lines. So thank you for sharing. Well, let's, without further ado, introduce you first. For those of you who are not familiar with Tejasva, he is originally from Delhi. And I remember our first conversation, learning that you've been from Delhi to Paris to Dubai, back to Delhi, and then to London. So you've been quite a few places growing up. But yes, you've been in London since 16, in your final year at Imperial Aeronautical Engineering. Hard work.
Can be, yes.
Yes, it's been great to see your experience of university as well, through your page and what you share on your highlights especially. But yes, Tejasva is someone who's been on a journey, and he's come here today to share some of his journey with us, how he's also found ways to express, what he's been learning on his journey through his music especially. And we will be having a few sneak peeks, hopefully, because I know you have some releases coming up. Definitely. If you haven't heard Tejasva's music, please go and check it out at TEX Music Official. And for today, let's just dive straight into the questions. First question. Sure. Is fame a good or bad thing? What do you think? You kind of mentioned a few words, but yeah, please share.
So I think, like I said, it highly depends on what your definition of the word fame really is. So does it come down to you looking at celebrities and going like, that's fame? Or are you looking at influential people and thinking that's fame? So I think for different people with different intentions, the word would have different meanings. Makes sense. So if you are somebody who wants to be on a platform to try and reach out to people, that's going to be your idea of fame, because you want to get up to a certain level where you can speak and reach out to people, and people then tune in to then want to listen to you, what you have to say, maybe sharing your experiences, empowering them in some way, like a lot of influencers do. On the other hand, if you are somebody, and I've been in this position as well, if you're somebody who wants the attention side of things, who wants the acknowledgement side of things, then fame will have a very different idea on that side. So I guess in my personal experience, when I was very young, somewhere around the age of 8, the idea of fame was very different compared to what it is now.
Mm. Wow. And I like what you said about attention and acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
Attention and acknowledgement, because I know that, having been in London for a few years now and having been back to Delhi, something that I also wanted to share for our viewers is that, you've been back to your school and other schools, where people are asking you, oh, wow, you've been to London, it's something different for them. It's kind of like you're like a little celebrity in their world, like, oh, wow, you've gone from India to London, the dream. Sometimes we define fame through someone else's experience and someone else's success.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost covers our awareness or wishes, and where do we stand in all of that? So this attention we're looking for, can we feel that through seeing people around us? We hear it's good to have role models. Can we see someone like a role model or a hero or heroine and be like, yes, that is going to be me. I want to be famous like that person. Is that a good direction to go in? I don't know. What do you think?
Definitely. I think in my case, I guess I was fortunate to know about Eminem, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So Eminem for me was somebody who, he doesn't know I exist. He has absolutely no idea that I exist. I'm one of the many followers that he has, right?
Yeah.
But I think in my case, when I was younger, when I was in Delhi and I was struggling a lot mentally, I'm just being very open here. So I was struggling a lot mentally. I was so lost, and I felt like I was so out of place, and I felt like nobody really wanted me there. I was just like the kind of guy in the room that nobody wants around. And it was at those points where I was like, well, what do I do now? But then you hear Eminem, and the raw words and the raw emotions he's displaying in his songs is so inspiring, because you look at him and you say, wow, this guy's been through so much more than I am going through right now. And if he was able to get out of the situation, and while getting out of it, inspire thousands, maybe millions, that's incredible, right? Yeah. So I guess in some way I was very fortunate to have him as one of my role models. And especially you can see that in my music as well. Like when the lyrics I write and stuff like that aren't very, in my opinion, aren't superficial. They do try and go a bit deeper. And that comes from him. Definitely comes from him. Another thing you said about role model is, I've said this on almost every interview I've been on. I give a lot of credit to this character called Naruto, and, he's part of this anime. And I think the relation there is that, I felt so directly connected to him as a personality,
Mm-hmm.
because when he was younger, again, he was the loser kid. Nobody really wanted to talk to him. Nobody wanted him in their room, and people just sort of misunderstood him a lot. I saw him at a very young age. I saw him become this absolutely amazing person who went from wanting to become the leader of the village for attention to then actually becoming the leader of the village, but to actually do good for humanity.
Wow.
And that entire process, seeing that in a cartoon character had a huge impact on me, because I was 15, 16 when I realized, what, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm striving towards. I want to become this person that somebody could look up to and say, wow, if he can do it, then so can I. And that's why I make my journey very transparent as much as possible. So definitely, I would say that, when you look at role models and say, well, I want to be like them, that's definitely, I would say, a good start.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very important, again, in my opinion, to really see what are they actually famous for. So why do you like this person? Why do you like this particular celebrity? Like, do you like them because they appear to be cool, because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of cars? Is that why you like them?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can, fantasize about it, sure, but is that something that
Yeah, yeah.
you want to accept as a role model? Maybe not. But for example, if you look at someone that you find influential who has power in their words, but with that power also have responsibility in their words, that is a different story. So I definitely think having a role model and trying to follow them and seeing what they're really about is definitely a good way to start.
I love that. That is, yeah, like, so from Eminem to cartoon characters, seeing the reason behind people's fame is, that's a really intelligent way to look at fame, actually, because, yeah, you could have two people with seemingly similar superficial situations, you know, with the money and the fame, etc. But what is driving that external picture, right? Is it something rooted in service, or is it something rooted in something a bit more self-centered? And I think to differentiate, you know, we can't always, it's better to give others the benefit of the doubt. I've always been given this advice, you know, because sometimes it's easy to judge others, but really we can't control how others think, speak, and do things, but we can control how we think, speak, and do things. So why don't we make sure our motivation and intention is like, well, if I have money, fame, whatever, let me use it to do, I like that, to do good for others. There's a teacher I follow in Canada. His name is George. And he just posted something about this morning as well, about, I think it was a quote by Will Smith saying that, yeah, like when you are doing things in this world, do it out of compassion to serve and help others. Let that be your motivation. And I have a little piece of paper on my door, actually, just on this cupboard, which says something similar. It was like a gratitude and compassion kind of meditation for the morning. And it was a similar thing. So hi, Urvi, lovely to see you with us. And Pragya, amazing to have you guys with us. Tejasva was just explaining that when it comes to role models, some of his are Eminem. And who is the cartoon character? I didn't catch the name.
Wow, Naruto.
Naruto. Wow, Naruto actually means, because in Sanskrit, Nara means human and Uttam means highest. So like the highest human. I don't know if you know that.
I did not know that.
You do now. So the highest human, the highest kind of human is the one that thinks, let me serve others, let me do something for others. Whether I have a little or a lot, whether I have a little fame or a lot of fame, the focus is service. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think it's interesting because just previously you mentioned that, you know, looking up to role models, and before that you said, you know, me coming from India to UK, and in some way, like when I go back to my school, like you said, egoistic way, but them following me on Instagram and always looking at, you know, the things that I'm doing, they always say, wow, like, yeah, how do you do all of this? And how do you do all of that? I think it's really nice, but also in some sense gives me the idea that, wow, it actually doesn't matter how much people know you, or like how many people know you, but the people that do know you, what are they getting from following you, for example? You know? And it's something that I think every single one of us underestimate about ourselves.
Yeah.
No matter who we are, whether we are trying to be famous or not, every single one of us has an impact on somebody, and we have no clue.
Yes.
And this is something that I realized when I was invited to different schools in India, and then I gave talks, and people were genuinely listening. And every time I was asking, are you sure you're not getting bored? They were like, no, this is really good. We want to hear it. And I feel a part of that was because I wasn't shying away from things that drove me in the past versus things that are driving me now. So insecurity-driven life versus trying to be compassion, trying to be genuine-driven life has a very different outcome altogether. And you can feel it. You can see that in a person.
Yes.
Even when we look at really famous people, the ones like, you know, Amitabh Bachchan, for example.
Yes.
Or Jay Shetty, you know, and we love Jay Shetty, you and I, we love Jay Shetty.
Yes,
and
amazing.
you can tell that when he speaks, he's not boasting. He's still humble. And, you know, I think this is a huge this is a huge thing. Like if somebody's trying to become famous, but then they're trying to become famous with a good intention, it's really important, in my opinion, to surround yourself with people who won't let you fly away.
Yes, I love that. That like people that keep you grounded, because otherwise it's easy to get distracted and diverted by the kind of secondary results of fame, which may be things like money, popularity, prestige, you know, people writing about you, talking about you, all of these things. And suddenly the purpose with which you set out to serve and to give and to love and to care and to have a very kind of selfless motivation gets yeah, lessened, and that growling monster of like the bad fame, if you like, can take precedence, which which is a shame. And sometimes we do see that, and it I think it demotivates us individually and collectively when we see that someone's, you know, when we see it in ourselves or others, it, yeah, I think it detracts from our real potential, you know, which is to preserve what Ruby says here. It's like a hidden power which we don't acknowledge enough. I love that.
Yeah.
So yes, how can we, you mentioned about friendship and people grounding us, and also I think leadership is important, because you're right, like we underestimate, like someone is looking at us thinking, oh wow, look at what they're doing, and it is a responsibility. So could you speak a little bit about friendship and leadership and when it comes to fame? Yeah, what are your thoughts on this? How do they help us? What is the right mindset if we are a leader in our arena? I think everyone has a remit and an arena, whether you're just like, I don't know, a mom sitting at home with her kids, or just, you know, your friends, your family look up to you. Maybe you are a manager in a company, you own your own business. It's like everyone has some kind of platform, position, and place in the lives of others. And how can we inspire each other, you know, with whatever fame we have?
I think that's a very interesting one because, you know, so like Urvi's on the chat here. So we both are co-presidents for Imperial KC SOC, for example.
Okay.
And we both really look up to Shivani, who, you know, sort of set out the entire platform and everything.
Okay.
But
Could you
Shivani may
explain a
not.
little bit about KC SOC? What kind of topics and conversations do you have there?
Yeah. So KC SOC is Krishna Consciousness Society, and it's a national UK thing. And we have it at universities as well.
Okay.
So at most universities individually have KC SOC.
Right.
And these are exactly the kind of conversations we have. So how to live a conscious life, how to be happy, what is love, and you know, things like this that people do shy away from because these are deep conversations.
Yeah.
But we always try to create this safe place for people to just come and brainstorm ideas and really talk about it.
Nice.
Which I think is very important.
Yeah, especially at a young age, because, you know, a lot of people the young people I know, like, because I was a former teacher, and I would ask children, and I was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm not joking. It's not a stereotype. With all seriousness, my students would be like, I want to be rich and famous. I want to be rich and famous. They're really serious about it, like for the sake of being rich and famous. They don't have that concept of serving and giving and being selfless. It is purely an external thing, and it would worry me, and I would kind of help them to kind of unlearn and relearn and bring out their service spirit, which they definitely do have, you know. And in fact, one of the boys, he wanted to be a rapper, and he also said about Eminem, it was like one of the first teaching jobs I had, and I said, you can write inspirational lyrics or you can write offensive lyrics. Like, I was like, which one are you going to write? He was like, inspirational. So I was like, okay, good. So I was like, he's on the right track. Sweet. Because words can elevate or degrade. So there's nothing wrong with fame or being a rapper, whatever it is. It's just like, which way are you going to go? So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure. I think since you touched on this topic, I think, you know, again, I'll be very open here. Not a lot of people know what I'm about to say. But when I first started, writing lyrics and things like that, I was like, wow, this is an opportunity to portray myself as a very cool person. Because I think in our generation, the typical thing is, oh, you're a rapper, you must be cool. And so when I was 17 or 18 and I first started writing lyrics, the whole idea was to portray myself as a cool person. But something just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right to me. And I'm somebody who has always tried and followed my gut and to really understand why I want to do things. So when I wrote certain lyrics, you can hear like in my first song called Speed, I'm talking about how cool I am, right? And I'm not a cool person. I was not a cool person, but I'm talking about how cool I am. And people will look at this and say, wow, what a cool person. So that's the image I wanted people to have of me at the time.
Yeah.
But as I grew older and I was like looking at Eminem again, and nonstop, he was always like inspirational. Or when I heard people's stories and they were inspirational, I was like, words, like you said, words can really elevate. And so I made a conscious decision that, when I make music now, especially like this whole album thing that I'm working on now, I'm very careful with the way I say certain things, even if they're really sensitive. I'm very careful about them. And I always put myself in a few different other people's shoes and listen to my song through their ears.
Wow.
And see, okay, I know for a fact this person is driven by love. So if they listen to the song, what is the idea that they will get of my song?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I do that a lot and it helps me very, very much. So every time now I do release a song or I let people listen to some of my unreleased ones, for example, and they start crying, I know I'm on the right track, if that makes sense.
That is amazing, the way that you've just described how you approached your songwriting and lyrics before and how you do now. Because from wanting to be perceived as cool and it was like it's about you, to changing to it's about how did you term it, hearing through other people's ears? Say it again.
So it's like hearing through other people's ears. Now like I was mentioning Shivani and so Irvi's on the chat as well.
Yes.
And I've got a few other, Aishwarya, Mimli, and a couple of other people as well. I always when I write songs, I will always go like, okay, if I make this person hear it, what are they going to think? How are they going to feel? Are they going to feel like I'm just trying to say something from my heart, or is it going to be on more of a superficial level, for example? So if you have few people, whether you know them or not, or they know you or not, you can always sort of check whether what you're doing is along the right direction, because these are the qualities that I really like in certain people, and these are the qualities I want to adopt. So doing this sort of check is always really helpful.
No, that is beautiful. Like getting the feedback of the people that you are endeavoring and putting your efforts into serve, and you do, just to say for the record, I think you're cool, and I don't think you are writing your lyrics to be cool, but we really do appreciate you. I think you're cool personally. Who thinks Tex is cool? Write in the comments if you think Tex is cool. And
it's very sweet.
You do, I have to say, you are genuine in that sense, because I remember checking out one of your highlights on your Instagram page, and someone was introducing you. This really impacted me. And they're like, maybe you can tell us what the event was afterwards, but they're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badass do you think your name is, Tex? And then you like gave the mic to the audience and you were like, what do you guys think? And then they were like cheering, and then you're like, so there you go, that what they think is right. So it wasn't about like, I think my name's really cool, Tejasva, experienced Tex, and I've got a really good idea how I came up with this name. It was like, what do the people that I'm making this music for think? How do they feel? Like seeing yourself as a servant leader. There's this beautiful term about servant leadership. And that is the mood and the motivation that I can see you've kind of switched too, compared to like your earlier years, I think.
So you'll be interested to know that at that time, so that was a live performance actually, and it was towards the end of my second year.
Okay.
And at that time, TEX was a short form for something,
Mhm.
but I still hadn't figured out what. At the time, my Instagram handle was TEX the Rapillionaire, and you can tell from the term Rapillionaire that it's a rap millionaire
Yeah.
combined, right?
Okay.
So you can, that name itself already portrays, wow, okay, he's a kid who's trying to be cool and wants to be super rich and famous.
Rap,
Okay?
cool, millionaire, money.
There we go. And at the time, that is again what I wanted to portray. And again, this is not something I will ever hide from. I wanted to be part of the journey. The term text the experience happened because I was like, you know what, I'm going to be so open about these things that people will go like, why do you have these embarrassing pieces of information still on your YouTube or Instagram? I'll go like, because in the future, if I do become famous and if I do become influential, I do not want that people look up to me and say, oh, he was born great. No, I want people to look at me and say, he's just like us.
Yeah.
But he made a few conscious decisions through which he was able to do what he did. Maybe we can do that too.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I wanted to mention. So that texting then didn't actually have a thing. And there was something else you said, which I forgot. And therefore I forgot what I wanted to say.
Sorry, no. We were talking about friendship and you were mentioning Shivani, Urvi, Aishwarya, who says, yes, you are cool, by the way, and Sid always coolest. So you got a lot of people who think you're cool here. Well, you're groupies. But yeah, no, we were talking about friendship and leadership. But I think you've answered the question really nicely that
oh, I remember.
Oh, you remembered. Okay, something else. Please share.
So you said servant leader, right?
Yes.
Now, I feel like I clocked this when I was 16. So I was 16 and I just come to the UK and everyone was talking about, I don't know, elections and stuff like that. So people were always saying or referring to these people as people in power, right?
Okay.
But there's this quote by Uncle Ben from Spider-Man who says, Peter, with great power comes great responsibility, right? I know I'm being cliche, but that quote stuck with me so bad that when people refer to people who are up there as people in power, I don't perceive that as people in power. I perceive that as people in responsibility.
Yes.
So the higher you are in life or in social status or whatever, the higher the responsibility you have.
Yeah.
People don't clock that.
No, not always.
And I don't blame them because this is how we are perceiving our reality at the moment, which definitely needs to be changed. So, but there's also this concept that the higher you are, so you know how we have this pyramid structure or this hierarchy in companies where CEO is sitting on the top.
Yeah.
And then there are managers here and then employees here. And
yes.
So instead of having it like this, it should actually be like this.
Oh, I like that. I like this.
Where the CEO of the company is the person doing the most service. And people over here, when I say the word service, I don't mean servant in like a slave way, but more as a compassionate person who's trying to give to society way service.
Yes, exactly.
So the CEO is the person doing the highest service.
Yeah.
And he is taking care, or she, I should always say, he or she is taking care of their employees.
Yes.
But people don't clock that.
No, it's true. It's really important. And those are the kind of leaders who, like you said, they bring out the leader in us because we are all leaders in some way. And how can we learn to be good leaders if we don't have good leaders? Right? So it's really important to, I remember when I applied for my first teaching job, I was still in my final year of UCL. I was doing my PGCE, postgraduate certificate in education. And one of the schools I went to, you know where I went to the school? Because the head teacher, first of all, she was like personally took us on a tour of the school. She knew the cleaner's name and was like having a conversation with her, like while we were like on this tour and stuff. And she was like pouring us a glass of water and just so hospitable. And it's like she doesn't leave that to someone else. Oh, you know, get these people some water, or like, I'm sorry, I'm busy right now, you know, and I don't know who you are, but just keep cleaning the school and do what you're supposed to. She was like really personal and connected, you know, to us who are
Yeah.
like, we might not even be working at her school, like, you know, and but just giving 100% of your kindness and care to whoever is in your space with the same spirit of service. Yeah, it's like whoever
Yeah.
you are, according to who you are, I'm gonna relate to you in that way. Hi, Amen, so nice to see you here. So it's, yeah, and she left an impact on me. I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm like that. And you know, I knew my cleaners' names. I would be like, after they finished cleaning the classroom, I would have a chat with them. And it's like, those are the impressions that kind of, they filter down. You know, you see someone doing something good, it becomes like a positive vicious cycle. I think there are many
Yeah.
negative vicious cycles that we need to break. It's not about complaining or judging or criticizing. It's like, hey, could we do something differently? Which I know is a huge part of your lyrics and you know, your vision and mission. And then it's like, okay, now let's live that. Let's
Yeah.
share that. Let's appreciate
Mm.
other people for that. Like, I'm appreciating this head teacher, you know.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you for sharing that.
Amazing. Absolutely. I think this point that you mentioned of, you know, treating everyone with the same spirit,
Yeah.
I think is so important, and I will give a lot of credit to my dad for making me realize this. It doesn't matter whether he's speaking to a rickshawala, chaiwala, or he's talking to, like, I don't know, some big guy in his company. He will always have the same humility, and he will treat everyone with the same respect. I think growing up, seeing that has had a very big impact on me. And so it doesn't really matter to me whether, you know, I'm at Imperial or I'm giving a talk back in school. I will still talk to everyone in the same way. At least I try my best to do that. So when somebody is teaching me something or there's a class going on, I will do my best to be in the headspace of a student. I'm not going to try and oversmart the teacher. I'm just going to assume that I don't know anything and this person is going to teach me a lot.
Yeah.
But you're still treating the person with respect.
Yes.
And the same thing is if you're in the talk and you are the one giving the lecture, or if in my case I tutor as well, I treat the person with the same amount of respect. I think that's really where things start becoming different.
Yeah.
Because you start learning from them, they start learning from you, and it becomes, as you said, a positive, not a vicious cycle, but a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, it is. No, there's this common, you know, relationships and how to really have genuine relationships with other. I love what you said about this respect. You know, mutual respect is so important. It's easy to get caught up in positions. Like, you know, oh, I'm a head teacher, and this is a cleaner, and this is a doctor, and this is a nurse, and this is a CEO, and this is a that and that. Don't get me wrong. It's like, I think we need that to function. You know, it's like when you go out on the roads, you need like a red, amber, and green traffic light system, because otherwise everyone's going to be like, okay, do I stop? Do I go? What do I do? But then, like, everyone has their specific service, which can be appreciated for what it is. And I think it's the appreciation that matters. It's not about, you know, how externally important or intellectual intelligent you need to be and saying that, oh, well, a doctor is better than a nurse or a head teacher is better than the cleaner in the school, because everyone is essential and valuable. So I think it comes to valuing people doing what they can do best and appreciating that, and not letting ego and pride and arrogance come into relationships. And because as soon as we start thinking, and we all know what it feels like or we all know what, like if we've been on the receiving end of someone thinking they're better than us, or how we feel when we've thought we're better than someone else. I know I've definitely fallen into that trap. We don't feel good. Whether we're on the giving end or the receiving end, we just feel like, it's like, you know, like, I don't know, if you just got mud all over you and you're like, oh, I just feel really, ooh, I want to go for a shower or something, you know? So it's refreshing, it's rejuvenating, it's encouraging when we respect each other, you know, and appreciate each other's efforts, you know.
Absolutely. I think again, we're having a very interesting conversation here.
Thank you everyone who's joining. We've got Ben.
Yes, thank you for being here, everyone.
Luke, really grateful. We're talking about fame here. Is it good or bad?
Yeah. So this thing that you said, you know, appreciating for people for what they're doing, I'm so with you on this, because I feel like currently it's sort of drilled inside our head to value only the people who are producing the most output, which is a very, I don't want to put the word, but capitalistic way of viewing people.
Yeah.
So how much, depending on how much output they provide you or how much money they can make you, you only value them with that magnitude. So it's very relative. But in my own experience, I feel like the moment you just appreciate somebody, they have a higher spark, and they then begin to start their own journey. And as I was mentioning earlier, it doesn't matter how many people know us, but the people that know us value us. Is you know, so an example of this was this summer, when COVID was already in place. I started this thing called the Invictus Design Challenge.
Okay.
And what I did was, you know, I just reached out to a lot of people who might be interested in design, but never really had the resources to expand or just showcase their work. And actually Sid, who's currently in this live as well, so he's a friend of mine from Mumbai, and we both just like got together and we were like, you know what, let's just reach out to people and create a challenge. We didn't call it a competition, we called it a challenge. And the challenge was to design something with a given design brief. So we're kind of giving people this sort of like an industry experience, but while keeping the creativity side of things solid. Yeah. And no compromises. And so we called it a challenge because we didn't want people to pit against each other and see who came up with the best design. We wanted people to be collaborative and then see who came up with the best design. And I think that was such a different way of doing things. And I didn't know if it would work. But as a result, what happened was we got 50 submissions from all over the world. Wow. And we have this little group chat on WhatsApp that is still functioning, by the way. And these kids, they send a post almost every day. Look, this is my new sketch. What do you guys think? This is my new sketch. What do you guys think? Maybe you can do this. Maybe you can do that. Yeah. So what we were able to do was create a small community for like-minded people. And I did this because I remember when I was 12 and 13 and I wanted to learn more about design, there was nobody that I could speak to back then about design. Yeah. And I wanted to learn how to do 3D modeling and animations. There was nobody there that was doing it. But the moment you're in the right environment with the right people, you don't even realize it, but you automatically start growing in that direction. Amazing. So I think this just sort of comes back to, it doesn't matter how many people know you. Yes, I love that. And Sid, your friend Sid has posted something here. Should have seen Tex handle it. My gosh, was it amazing. Speaking of calling it challenge instead of competition, yes, that wholesome community. I love that. And that intimacy, that's the thing. Like now with technology, everything is so big and viral and massive and quantity and fast. And it's like, we just feel like a number sometimes. It's like, I'm just such a small, teeny, tiny, weeny person. Like, you know, does anyone even know that I exist? And then when you form these small local communities where people can, you know, intimately connect with each other, I mean, closely. It's not that you're on a massive, I don't know, call, or you're just one of like
10 million billion followers or whatever it may be. You know, it's people feel like they're part of something, and their voice and their ideas count and matter and can make a difference, and they can see their own they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity. Fame is being used as an opportunity. So, you know, you're kind of like, you were like a leader, if you like. You became famous for setting up this, what design was it? Invictus Design?
Invictus Design.
Yes, Invictus Design Challenge. So you are famous for doing that. But the result is that, okay, so people like Sid and others that took part in the challenge, 50 submissions from all over the world, and the group is still going today. And, you know, anything positive in lockdown, I love hearing about. And it's made people are kind of, it creates a positive impression. You know, I remember when because I have chronic pain, and it was my second year of dentistry, just before I was about to start my second year of dentistry, that I had this accident in Switzerland when I was 19. It was like September 2004. So 16 years I've been struggling. And at first, like, I felt so lonely. I was like in my room struggling with this pain, and it was hard for people around me to relate to me. But just like one person reaching out and involving me in like different talks and things. And like, I used to go to university talks and literally lie down at the back. But I was welcomed and I wasn't judged. I was included and incorporated into what was going on according to what I could do, you know?
Yeah.
So I think inclusivity, you know, and this unity and diversity, that, you know, everyone participate and join according to, you know, what you're capable of. I think that's really nice. And bringing in that variety. So yes, thank you for sharing a practical, positive example of how you are doing this. I hope everyone who's watching right now on the live and on the replay, that you can appreciate yourselves for how you are bringing this energy into the world, you know, of this unity and diversity, collaboration over competition, community over competition, and not just like thinking how could you do that moving forwards in the future if you've never done something like this before. Take Tejasva's example, right? Get something going and run with it, learn from it. And if you've experienced that someone has done this for you, then please appreciate those people, appreciate those servant leaders. I know I've had, you know, many people who've seen potential in me and been able to bring out, you know, what I feel I do best. For example, with teaching, I had an amazing mentor as a teacher, who was like, you can be so creative. And she said to me, I wouldn't have minded if you taught my kids when they were growing up, you know. Hi, Mimli. You missed your name earlier, Mimli. Tejasva was like Shivani, Mimli, Urvi, all your Imperial crew. He was appreciating how much you ground him. Yeah, it's really nice. Well, could you share with us some lyrics from your songs, whether they're past, present, future, which perhaps shares in some way maybe some of your former, do we have Speed? Was it called Speed, the first one you did, the cool one?
Oh, yeah, but I don't know, I don't think that one's too relevant for for this conversation.
Okay, fine. So please pick a song that is, if you can share with us some lyrics to give us some inspiration as we, yeah, you know, something for us to take away on this topic of fame. Trap or opportunity?
Sure. So I think I'm actually going to do the one that that you found really nice. It's called Wakai, and in Urdu, Wakai means indeed. right?
Okay.
And the whole song was about how, and it was coming from personal experience as well, of how, you know, when I was younger and I was in India, I had a really big Rubik's Cube channel. And in India, it was, I think it was #1 for Rubik's Cubes.
Wow.
So I sort of had this thing where, you know, within 3 days, you could almost guarantee I would get 1,000 views. But that stopped after I came to the UK because I wasn't working on it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got my music channel, I was expecting the same amount of attention.
Wow.
It didn't come, right?
Yeah.
And that's when it really clicked. So now when I see people, you know, do something incredible, whether it's a song, it's art, dancing, video, whatever it is, and they post it online, I feel like everybody always has this need to try and appear more popular than they are,
Yeah.
myself included.
Yes.
I've been there. Um, and so as a result, we sometimes take extreme measures to definitely make sure we appear more popular than we are.
Yeah.
In some cases, I would say in a lot of cases, people end up buying views, buying likes, not paid promotion, but bots.
Wow.
Or paying people to view their video. And this is not me judging. This is me trying to shed a light
Mm-hmm.
on the thing. The sweet tree, I believe your question, I don't recall your question. Can you please post it again and I'll make sure we answer it. So the lyric here is doing right things for the wrong reasons, basically committing our own treason. We no wonder made our minds our own prison. And we wonder why we got feelings that need dealing like seasons, mood switching. What on earth? Now we gotta face our own demons? So, okay, and then it follows. Look around, you see that, how everybody's faking it, because everybody's taking shortcuts with false guts. But that's really why you're gonna get it all cut. Fall around, you're gonna get it chopped up, clogged up. Then we wonder why we got it locked up.
Wow.
See? So
False guts. I
that's
like that.
false guts, yeah.
Yeah.
So we convince ourselves that we need it when we probably don't.
Yes. That is, and
so that's
no, that's powerful. And that is the what is the meaning of that word again?
what false
The song?
guts.
No, the song.
Oh, vaka is indeed.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
So
This is
actually, it's a song by another friend, which I'm featured. So I'm just a feature in it. It's not originally my song.
right.
So,
Okay. But that is really nice. It's choked up. I think you said clogged up.
clogged up, chopped up and clogged up. Yeah.
Chopped up and clogged up. Yeah, it is. Wanting to be famous for the wrong reasons and taking those shortcuts is actually it's self-sabotage, it's suffering and suffocating our spirit and soul within. Actually, we don't realize, but it's kind of like it's like a silent killer, because sometimes we may not even notice that this is our motivation, because that's the nature of getting distracted. Sometimes we don't realize, or sometimes people around us can see it, but we don't see it. So I love what you've said from the beginning, which is having friendships in our lives, people who ground us and can protect us from this trap, fame as a trap, and always remind us, no, if you have fame, use it as an opportunity. And I do remember listening to that song, and actually Urvi and Kushi at the Living Tea, it was through your live that Tejasva and I connected. I think it's that back in last December. It's amazing, like on these lives, ever since I've started them at Miss Soljam, apart from Tarshan, who is one of my students, I have never met any of you guys in real life. Definitely after lockdown, I'm looking forward to meeting so many people. But thank you for sharing the lyrics from your song. And the Sweet Tree is asking, can you please sing a few lines from Rewind?
Oh, well, Ashwarya, who's also on the live, she is the one who sings in Rewind. I'm the one who raps in Rewind. I probably won't sing her bit, but I can do a few. I can do a few lyrics, sure.
Please, yeah, nice request.
So Rewind. So for people who, what's your way of dealing with people? Okay, Krish, I'm gonna come back to that. So Krish is a friend of mine from my old school in Delhi.
Nice. Okay.
So Rewind, for those of you who don't know, Rewind is a song that I wrote about a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago. And what I talk about are, I just try and shed some light on the problems that exist in the world. And not a lot of people might want to talk about it because it's something that we're all living through, but none of us know the depth of what we're doing. And so I'm trying to shed some light. So a lyric goes, we're killing terrorists, not terrorism. Because one goes down, another's born in through a prism. We bomb a nation, it's abomination, living lies through a television, killings in the name of religion, hates in the blood. It's not the guns, it's just the love that we lack. I think we're losing our own touch. Take it back, I think it's getting way too much. Cut a slack, I think we're diving in fake lust. There's a war going on for peace, that's funny, ain't it? Dependent not in oil, but in red, the walls are now painted. We will make it great again. You know they said it. Politicians money driven, you know it's faded. So that's a few from Rewind.
I love that one as well. I shared it to my stories, especially the video. Go and check out the video, guys, if you haven't seen it. Where it's kind of got that heart, you know. It's not the guns, it's just the love that we lack. I know, I've got the tune in my head. It's catchy.
Yeah, so I've got one more if people do want to. This is a song that I still haven't recorded properly and will probably be released many months from now, but I'll share a little bit.
Oh wow,
it's called
exclusive, thank you.
Of course.
What is it called, sorry? I missed that.
It's called Silent Battles.
Okay.
And the entire idea behind the song is, again, coming from my experiences of how there are actually two of us inside our head. And there's a good version of us and there's a bad version of us.
Yes.
And how they interact and how we sort of lock up the negative side of us and we don't like facing them. But one day something happens to you and this bad side comes out and they take over, like Venom from Spider-Man. I don't know if people know that. But it takes over and it feeds off your negativity and it turns you into someone you're not. And so towards the end of the song, after I show the two me's fighting and rapping with each other, the good me says, well, so basically the bad me is just criticizing the good me and saying, like, you know, people left you for a reason, nobody likes you and blah, blah, blah. And all, it's fully raw, like it's a lot of raw emotion here. But then the good me says, yeah, I know it's true. We've been through so much together. I never knew that beyond all this endurance was standing you. But understanding you, we both felt the ache. But past is the place where you learn from mistakes. And it's because we felt this way that we've been able to come all this way. There's no doubt you made me stronger, but you're with me now. Together we will conquer. Ain't no need for you to suffer any longer.
Beautiful.
I want you to fight and get up. It's the time when you realize that you've got it in you. Tell you, well, it's all within you. Face your inner demon. And if they come at you, embrace them.
Wow. Embrace your demons, people. Embrace your demons. Make friends with them. I love that. And, you know, positive inner dialogue is something I think a lot of us struggle with. I know I have. We can be our greatest critic and really not treat ourselves with the kindness we would easily treat others with, but with ourselves we can be really hard on ourselves. And I know that you did a song, which was the one, and you, all the profits went to the Blurt Foundation, which also helps with mental health. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Sure, yeah. So actually this ties in really well with Krish's question on ego. So he asks, what's your way of dealing with ego? Ego is a life driving force most people don't reflect back on. If you have a song about it, please do share the experience. And it's actually the reason why TEX stands for the experience, because I try to be as open as I can about it. So that song is called Izzat, and in Urdu, Izzat means honor or respect.
Okay.
And when someone reads the title, people will be like, oh, he's probably craving more attention now, isn't he? Or, oh, wait, he's probably just, you know, looking for more reasons to, I don't know.
The bad
I've heard these
songs. The bad fame, but you're about to redefine it with the good frame. You're about to reframe fame for us.
Love that.
We are both poets. Definitely, we are both poets.
Um, but yeah, so at the end of the day, the song is actually not about being respected by others. It's about being respected by yourself.
Nice.
And so this ties in with the ego side that Krish just questioned, because I feel like in a lot of ways, when something good or bad happens to us, we obviously take it very personally. That either deflates our ego or inflates our ego. But in spirituality, we have this concept of detachment.
Mm.
And I won't talk a lot about it, but the idea is, everything that happens probably happens for a reason.
Mm.
Can you take something out of it? Would you rather, like, if something is happening to you, do you want to just sit and suffer because of it, or do you want to take something and learn from it? Obviously, easier said than done.
Yeah.
But if you approach it with that mindset, things really start to change. So in that song, Is That, what I've basically done is I've again shared my own personal experiences of how there's this graphic in the video where I'm like behind a jail,
Mm-hmm.
and I say, it's like you trapped me inside my own head. But then towards the end of the song, I say, hang on a second, I can't just continually forever blame everybody else but me. How about I take whatever people have to say and take that as an opinion and just do what I'm doing? Because at the end of the day, the moment you start reflecting it like that, you would eventually start wanting to do things that are good,
Yes.
for not just for yourself, but for humanity.
Yes.
And the moment that happens, things really stand. You start looking at yourself as a very different person. And while other people on the surface still see you as the same you,
Yeah.
you know inside you've changed. And eventually that starts showing.
Mm.
So that's what Izzat is about. It's about honoring yourself, loving yourself, because if you can't do it for yourself, how can you do it for others?
I love that. That is,
And hence everything went to charity.
yes, because we need people and charities helping people with this. Mental health is a huge burden in the world today, and the fact that you're writing songs to address this, instead of there's stress, we can get stressed, we can repress it, or we can address it, right? So often
Love
we're
it.
just like, oh, why is this happening to me? Like you said, what have I done? I'm a good person. Why do people not like me? Why am I not succeeding? Why didn't I get that job? Why have I failed at this? And it's like, if we choose, right, to not grow through it, Mimli, we need to do life together. You grow through what you go through. See, let's have the mindset Mimli suggested. You grow through what you go through rather than suffer, like you said. We don't want to suffer and struggle through our difficulty. We want to transform it. That's why, like, at Miss Soldier, I have this butterfly, because we're like clothes caught up in this cocoon if we choose to stay in that space of suffering and struggle. But as soon as we're like, okay, Izzat, let me respect and honor myself. I have the power and the potential and a purpose to help myself and help others. Let me fly with those wings, fly like a butterfly, be free, be you, live a life that's true. This is my line and
Wow.
my attempt to do a song. I don't think I can rap like you, but
Everyone
it's,
can.
yeah, we all have something in us. We all have a voice. And Mimli says, I stole that line from Urbi. I love it. Thank you, Urbi. I love how we kind of integrate each other's wisdom and inspiration as friends. And then it's like, it just becomes like one whole positive voice that we all share in the world together. It's beautiful. Ripples.
You spoke of, sorry, continue.
No, I'm done actually. Please share what you're
Okay.
saying.
So you spoke of the butterfly, and you know that line that Mimli just said, you grow through what you go through.
Mm-hmm.
There is so one of my friends, I don't know if he's on here, he was supposed to, but it's really late for him. He's in Singapore. His name is Xerxes.
Okay.
And when we were in our second year, like him, another friend of mine, Haik, who's had a big impact on me as well. The three of us have constantly, since first year at Imperial, have always looked at Imperial and gone like, wow, we're really struggling here. We're really struggling here. Like, there's so much workload, there's so much going on and everything. But, we spent a lot of time together before COVID. And what happened was Xerxes one fine day just looks at me and says, Tex, you are anti-fragile. And I said, Xerxes, what does that even mean? He said, there's this really nice book. It's called Anti-Fragile. And he says, okay, if you have something fragile, for example, a glass,
Yeah.
and you knock the glass, what happens to the glass? It breaks.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the opposite of fragile? Anti-fragile. And what that means is if I knock you, you become stronger.
Wow.
So like you said, you are in this cocoon and you bloom. And it's another song I've written. It's literally called Anti-Fragile, unreleased. I'm just giving you all of these. But Anti-Fragile, and in that, again, I'm just sharing my own experiences in the sense that there's this there's a statement I've been using from the past 3 years now. And I love this statement so much. If you want to be shot forward, you need to be pulled back first.
I like.
Right? If you look at it from a, okay, Mimli's quoting my lyric from Izzat, but the idea is, if you're an arrow, she knows a lot of my lyrics. She's a best supporter. So if you're an arrow, you need to be pulled back first before you can be shot forward, right?
Everyone, let's do this. Come on, let's make this a meditation and really practical. Pretend you're an archer. Not pretend, you are. We are all archers, right? Pull your arrow back. Okay, Tejasva, direct us.
Direct us. Go where you want to go. Like, what is it that you really want to do? Ask yourself at your core. What is it that you want to do? And
yes. So we're going to pull ourselves back before we launch forwards, right? I love that. That is really, I remember just a couple of weeks ago, I was sharing that sometimes on this journey of self-love and growth, it's like, 2 steps backwards, 3 steps forwards. It's not like, I'm just like stepping up every single day. Like, we will fall flat on our face sometimes. We will make mistakes and mess up, but there's magic in the mess. There is magic in the mess, and we don't see it like that. That's why we get depressed, and we have to learn to pick ourselves up, pick each other up, and remind each other to, I love how you said it, like, to see the lesson. It's so important.
Definitely.
One of the lessons I've learned through having chronic pain is having patience with myself and others, and also having empathy. Like, so often people see me, like, for example, I'm struggling to sit right now. That's why I'm standing. We don't know people's story, underneath the surface. And this is something we all need to be mindful about, learning to hear what is not spoken and see what is not shown. I think we need to take understanding each other to a deeper level and not always just take everything and everyone at face value. And the way to do that is firstly to just approach relationships and people like that. Like, how can I truly understand this person for who they are? By having an open and honest conversation, asking questions, and remembering what we learn about someone as we go on to interact with them in the future. It's so important. And then we would all feel understood and valued, and it would just be more personal, our connections, right? So thank you so much for everything you shared with us today. I'm looking forward to hearing Silent Battles, right? That's the one that's coming up.
Well, no, that's probably a few months away. There are a few coming maybe in the next month. So there's Sliver coming out. There's a lot of deep references there. Okay. There's Flame coming out. Again, a lot of deep references there. There's Locust, which is a very spiritual song.
Nice. Locust.
So the idea is the locus of control is not outside, but it's actually within you.
I love that.
That's the whole point of the song.
That is nice. Sliver, Mimli. Mimli, you should be his PA. Like, seriously, I don't know. You need to hire her. You seriously need to hire her.
She is an amazing, amazing soul. Sonal, and I cannot thank her enough. Like, you know, we don't even know each other like that long. It's probably just been 1.5 years, and but the connection both of us have is incredible. And I'd say the same thing about Aishwarya Uday, who just sent a lot of hearts over there. I've never even met her.
Wow. She's singing on your track, Rewind. I love
She's the
your
one
voice,
singing on
Aishwarya. It is beautiful like your name, Aishwarya.
Spiritual Wealth.
Sorry, say that again.
Aishwarya in Sanskrit is spiritual wealth, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Wealth, Aishwarya, opulence, wealth. You're right. Yes, yes. You have a
Yeah.
very good voice.
I have a very I am very, very grateful for these people because they are the ones who will never let me float away. They're the ones.
You
So
know,
thank you.
that is a beautiful message, I think, for us to all take away. Fame is being famous in the hearts of those we love, trust, respect, and wish to serve. That is, I think, what we've truly felt and experienced as genuine fame. That may be many people or few people. Real fame is about the quality of connection that we have with each other, that is based on respect, that is based on service, responsibility, humility. And, you know, there isn't this sense of ego and wanting to look cool and all these other things, which just eclipse and shadow the real beauty of fame. Fame is not a bad thing. Fame can be beautiful if we have the right motivation, intention. Thank you so much for sharing your songs, which have shown this, your experiences with what you've done with Invictus Design, and just, yeah, the way that you want your music to impact people with motivational messages and not messages expecting respect, you know, and wanting attention. It is natural to want attention and acknowledgement, but to gain that attention and acknowledgement by serving others, being a servant leader, that is the way to get it naturally, and we don't expect it personally. You know, that is a really beautiful message and takeaway for all of us today. Thank you for everything that you're doing to remind us of these truths. We're really grateful.
No,
And
thank you for having me, Sonal. Thank you for doing this entire Instagram live thing. I've heard some really, really good stories from different people. And you know, in some ways we're also growing our own networks. I believe it was Pooja that I connected with yesterday.
nice.
She was on your live. And so I think in a way it's like a ripple effect of, you know, wholesome people connecting with more wholesome people. And
Yes. It definitely,
so,
once you meet positive people, you meet all the positive people in their world, and we're just one big happy family. I love this. I was speaking to Mimli yesterday, and she shared this really cool yoga channel by Adrian with me because, you know, I have my back pain, and I love her. Like, I checked out her yoga for stress video, and she was like, you know, you get home from work and you just let it go, and then she's like, I think I just lost half my subscribers. I'm like, no, you just gained me. So, you know, by having these conversations, we can learn so much from each other. We have each other's backs, and yeah, let's keep doing this. I hope you can come back to share more, and really look forward to continuing to support and follow your journey and what you're going to be doing in the world. I'm really excited and happy for you, and yes, grateful, especially, as I said. Thank you everyone who's on the live right now for all your, hi Rachin, thank you for joining us. If anyone had any other questions, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Tejasva TEX. Stay in touch, and thank you all for your time and showing up for yourselves to invest in yourself. You know, you could be anywhere doing anything. You've chosen to come on this live, spend your precious time with us. We're really grateful to you as well. And please let us know how we can serve you and how we can help you on your journeys always. You know, that's what we are here for, right, Tejasva?
Absolutely. If there's anything else, you know, if you want more episodes of Sonal and me together, please do let us know. do give her a follow as well if you're coming from my side. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, shares amazing stuff. Definitely give her a follow. And yeah, I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here, and I hope to see you all soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And nobody said, will you be posting this live stream? Definitely. It will be on my page as soon as we finish here, so you can watch the beginning. And yes, so there we go. We will be doing more episodes. Let us know if there's any particular topics that you'd like us to speak on. We definitely have some ideas, but you know, these lives are for you guys, as much as they inspire and help us. You know, we are all learning together. And thank you all for your love, your encouragement. Let's stay connected and yeah, speak soon. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Take care.
Good evening. Bye.
See you. Bye.